Welcome to Menopause Monday. Welcome to COVID Menopause Monday. I tested positive, but at least I've had my double vaccination and I'm feeling pretty grotty. So I just encourage you, if you've not had your vaccines yet, go and get them done, because I'm feeling I'd imagine I'd have felt way worse had I not had my vaccine. So if you're on the fence, I highly recommend you go and get it. I have no idea how I've caught it. I'm really careful. I always mask up, wash my hands loads. Don't know how it's got in, but it's a fact that I am positive. So today I am going to be sharing with you my top 14 tips to help you make the most of getting older. Regardless of our age, sex, gender, wherever we live in the world, we all get old, unfortunately. Even Superman did. But there are certain things that we can do to lessen the effects of aging. Now, this isn't about the fact that we're going to try and turn back the clocks. It's about the fact that we have a choice to go into old age healthily and vibrantly, or we have a choice to go into old age and take that chance of being in a care home, not being able to look after ourselves very well, to be, broken bones and the debilitation that leads to. I'm all about embracing what we have, being incredibly grateful for having got this far so far, and also making the most of it. Life is not a rehearsal. We have this one chance at it. And my approach to life is very much about grab it by the ghoulies and go for it. And we need good health in order to do that. Even just with COVID at the moment, I'm laying low a bit. I feel pretty ropey with it. And it's so frustrating because I can't do the things I want to do. I can't go out because I'm going to isolate, but just not having the physical strength or the ability in my energy levels at the moment to go and do the things that I would normally love to do. And that's just a blip. I mean, I'm telling myself I am invincible and I'm going to get through this really fast. I don't think it's going to be serious at all. I certainly don't intend for it to be serious. Not that probably makes that much difference, but I'm sure mindset does matter to a degree. But we do have a choice, and this has really highlighted it to me with being poorly at the moment, is I wouldn't want to get to my older age and feel weak. And then on top of all the things that happen to us as we get older. So this is very much geared towards to be aware of the things that are likely to happen as we get older, but also to give you just really simple tips in order to maximize the way you can flourish through your older years. So first and foremost, our metabolism as we go sort of through the menopause and beyond in fact, our metabolism starts slowing down much earlier than that, but it starts to slow down much more rapidly as we go through the menopause, which means essentially that the food and drink that you're eating doesn't get metabolized as fast, so you're not burning it up as fast. And so what you used to eat a few years ago is having a weight gain impact on you. Now, I'm not a great fan of counting calories. It's not really, I don't think it's a true depiction of good weight management, because certain really unhealthy foods have lower calories than a really healthy food, and the unhealthy food will set up a negative chemical reaction in your body that will make it store fat, whereas the healthy food will actually help your body to burn fat, but the healthy food might be richer or denser in calories. So I think it's, bear in mind, you don't want to be eating cream cakes every day, because apart from the fact it's just rubbish food, but it's also very, very high in fat. I think it's replacing the not so good with the healthy stuff. Healthy stuff tends to have more fiber in it, has more protein in it. That's going to keep you feeling fuller for longer. It's going to set up positive chemical reactions in your body rather than negative ones. So just be mindful of the fact that what you used to eat in the past is likely to be putting more weight on you these days. And also tune into how you're feeling when you're eating. I think, we've had a lifetime of eating that particular plate size. Consider, are you actually feeling full? Because if you're feeling full, stop. Or maybe even buy smaller plates, or just put smaller portions on your plates. Again, we tend to finish our plate, and whether we're hungry or not, or whether we're feeling full or not. So just when you're eating, just can ask yourself, have I eaten enough? And if you have, put the stuff aside. Is you could save it for tomorrow or a lunch or something, or the way to think about it is it either goes on in your bin or on your body as fat. And what's the choice? Because you're not being forced to finish your plate off. So just become more mindful about how you're feeling when you're eating. And if you can eat more slowly, you'll find that the food will hit your tummy and you'll have enough time to actually register that you're full. When we eat really fast, our tummy doesn't have time to register that we're full. And so that's when we tend to overeat. The number two is the fact that when we go through the menopause, particularly with falling estrogen levels, we have motility issues in our digestive system. So that could be leading to bloating, it can be leading to gas, I suppose, same sort of thing, but constipation, digestive issues, irritations, and that is due to our falling estrogen levels. So in order to keep your sort of motility up and running well, make sure to drink plenty of water during the day. That helps to flush stuff through, and eat foods high in fiber. Fiber is the prebiotic. So fiber feeds the healthy gut bacteria inside our bodies, and the probiotics, the healthy bacteria, need prebiotics to feed them. So make sure you're eating plenty of vegetables and some fruit. Fruit's really good for us too. And I would also suggest adding a probiotic into your diet. Make sure it's one that actually survives the trip through the digestive system. A lot of them don't. I have a soil-based probiotic every single day. I have it as part of my superfood shake, and that also has added fiber in it, and that keeps things moving really, really nicely. So just be aware of the fact that you might need to add more veggies to your diet. Most of us do, and drink more water. But do also start to take a probiotic. If you've had a course of antibiotics, you might be beneficial. Well, it would certainly help you to have something like multidofilus. You can get them in capsules from a health food shop, and those would just repopulate the healthy bacteria in your gut. Because when you've been poorly for a while and you have antibiotics, the antibiotics pretty much kill everything. So you do need to repopulate it with the healthy gut bacteria. As we go through the menopause, our bone loss increases significantly. Now, you probably heard of, people say, oh, you can get brittle bone disease, you can get osteopenia, which is the softening of the bones, osteoporosis, which is brittle bones. When we go through the menopause, we have these things called in our bones, we have osteoclasts and osteoblasts. Osteoblasts build up the bone tissue. Osteoclasts take away dead tissue, but they also eat away at bone tissue. And as our estrogen levels fall, we have a greater propensity of osteoclasts, so the nibblers, against the blasts, which are the builders. So just so that you understand that. So to keep bones nice and strong, you need to be eating calcium. I'm going to talk about calcium in a bit, actually, but calcium, there are studies now pointing to the fact that we don't need to take calcium supplements. We should be able to get our calcium needs from the food that we eat, providing you're eating the right kinds of food, of course. So that's things like green vegetables, dairy products, pretty much green leafy vegetables. Soya products are pretty high in calcium. Nuts, seeds are high in calcium. We also need to make sure that we're getting plenty of sunlight or ultraviolet light, because for the body to actually synthesize calcium, we need vitamin D. Body doesn't create calcium, we get it from our diet. So it's very important that you not only eating calcium rich foods, but that you're also then getting ultraviolet light. 20 to 30 minutes a day is probably sufficient for that calcium to actually be made useful within the body. So just make sure about that you're getting sufficient calcium. For bone health also, strength training is incredibly important, because while those osteoclasts are nibbling away, strength training actually makes the bone denser, helps to stimulate the osteoblasts, the builders, also keeps our tendons and our muscles strong. But strength training, particularly menopause and beyond, you really need to be incorporating it into your daily or weekly schedule. I strength train 3 or 4 times a week. And then I have HIIT training the other days of the week, and I have 1 rest day or maybe 2 rest days a week. You do need to work with weights in order to get your bones to strengthen. Running also is very good for bone health, but if you're doing long distance endurance running, that's not as helpful post-menopause as it is short blasts of sort of HIIT interval training. That's because the long distance running can spike our cortisol levels for longer, and cortisol makes us put on belly fat. We have 4 times the amount of cortisol receptors around our belly, and belly fat largely is related to, it's not necessarily the stuff you're eating, unless that's causing stress in your body, which is making you release cortisol. So just to be aware of that. Belly really is more of a cortisol thing or an insulin resistance thing, because when cortisol is high in our body, it also stimulates the production of more insulin. Insulin is our fat storing hormone, so just be aware of that. And then muscles as well. Our muscles atrophy really fast once we go through the menopause due to our falling hormones again. So as well as strength training being beneficial for your bones and your tendons, it's also going to be really beneficial for your muscles. If you do not use your muscles, you will lose them. Again, you just need strength training and some intermittent HIIT, in high intensity interval training, in order to sort of make sure that you're not atrophying too fast. Another thing is, as we get older, our fast twitch muscles, muscle fibers, tend to decline much quicker. And fast twitch muscle fibers are the things that will help us catch ourselves if we fall over, or if we trip, or if we have to make a sudden movement. Fast twitch muscles help us do that. And you'll find that as people get older, their fast twitch muscles decline. And so that's why there are more falls as people get older. You're just not as able to move as fast as you used to do. Again, things like strength training, HIIT interval training, and include some sort of element. I mean, the HIIT interval training that I do does include sort of jumping around, sort of, that would stimulate those fast twitch muscle fibers. If you're a dancer, you're already doing those. If you play tennis or racquetballs, your fast twitch muscle fibers are going to be good, but just be aware of those, that those are the things that principally help us keep our balance and maintain, have that ability to catch ourselves before we actually fall onto the ground. I've sort of already spoken about the belly fat. Number 6 is flexibility. We do lose, again, we lose collagen, we lose elastin in everywhere. So our skin and our muscular tissues, that all decreases as we go through the menopause. And so it's, stretch days are equally as important as strength days. Like I say, I have certainly one stretch day. It's a roll and release day a week, and then I normally have another rest day. It is so important to keep your flexibility, because can you imagine if your muscles are atrophying, your bones are getting weaker, you're not stretching regularly, everything's seizing up but getting weaker at the same time. It's also not particularly good for your joint health if you are not exercising either. So exercise really is, it's a no-brainer for a healthy latter life for sure. As I mentioned, skin loses collagen and elastin. I take a daily collagen supplement. I just have like a scoop and I stick it in either my cereals, or I can have it in a smoothie. We can have it in your coffee or your tea. It's flavorless, but I find that is really beneficial for my joints, particularly with menopausal joint pain. I also take vitamin E daily for my menopausal joint pain, just as an aside. Make sure if you're getting a vitamin E supplement, you get the tocopherols and the tocotrienols. You want a balance of them both, because that is the most effective one that is going to help reduce that joint pain in the menopause. And protein, as we get older, our bodies actually do not synthesize protein as well as they used to do. So it's exercise again helps the body's ability to synthesize that protein. So again, it's just it all, I know it keeps coming back to exercise, but exercise is absolutely fundamental to a healthy older age. I mean, we should all be exercising throughout our lives, but certainly, and it's never too late to start. You can start off gentle and you can build up to whatever level you want to, and you don't have to do exercise that makes you feel like you're about to die on the floor. That's not sort of the exercise I'm talking about. It's exercise that you find fun, that you find engaging, and that you can commit to doing, 3 to 5 times a week. That is really what you're going to be looking for. Libido falls as we get older. This is due to falling testosterone in both women and men. Again, exercise will help boost your libido, not over exercising, but also sleep. Sleep is one of the best things you can do for just good health, because that's when our hormones get released. That's when the body does all of its healing. That's when, it helps us to deal with stress more effectively. If we've had a good night's sleep, we feel more grounded the next day when we've had a good night's sleep. And I know, in our busy lives, it's so easy to think, oh, I'll just catch up at some point, or I'll be going on holiday in the next 3 years, or I'll have a sleep on the beach for a week. It has such a negative impact on us when we don't sleep well. So do make sure that you are prioritizing your sleep sufficiently, so that you're giving your hormones time to do what they need to do. Sleep also really affects our satiety hormones. So our hunger hormones and our hormones that tell us when we're full, they get seriously affected if we're not sleeping well. So not only is it having an effect on things like your libido and your sexual hormones, it's also having an effect on your hunger hormones and everything else. We do need to prioritize sleep in the body, prioritize sleep for a healthy body. You can be more prone to arthritis. That obviously is inflammation of the joints. Most of the joints in our bodies are synovial joints. So they're like in a little capsule that has synovial fluid to keep the joint nicely oiled. And again, exercise and good hydration, so lots of water, helps to keep those capsules working well. So it's, if again, it's exercise. I feel like I'm sort of over promoting exercise here, but it does for our mental health. It releases endorphins. It helps us to keep a healthy weight. It protects our joints. It keeps you strong because of your posture. A good strong body has a good strong posture, which improves your digestion. It improves how you breathe because you're standing upright. Helps to, many of us have like a head that points forward because we're sat at the computer typing, and we sit like, or we're reading, or on our phones. That's the worst, isn't it? And we forget. I mean, I'm sure in evolutionary times, in another 200 years, we're all going to be born with heads sticking out like this. But it's really not good for your posture. So when you can, just sort of sit back and twist and stretch. And if you work at a desk, try and get up 2 or 3 times a day, maybe when you go to the toilet, and just do some stretching, just to keep it all moving. It's good for your blood flow and detoxing the body as well. But you don't have to do it for long, just enough to get some movement into those joints. Come on, I've got COVID, I can do it, you can do it. Your brain might slow down. Mine feels really sluggish at the moment. Brain fog was one of my worst problems going through the menopause, as well as hot flushes. I don't know whether I've just got used to having brain fog, or whether I've actually come out of the other end of brain fog a bit. Not 100%. I still have to really, I plan everything to the nth degree these days, because otherwise, and I have a diary, I have my Google Calendar, I have a diary, I have reminders, because otherwise I will forget things. I used to be highly organized. It's so frustrating. But our brain really benefits from things like if we learn a new skill. So if you learn a new language, you learn a new instrument, you take up crocheting or knitting or crosswords. Is it Sudoku or Sudoku? I'm never sure how to say it. Those sorts of things. I've never been able to work out how to do it either. But those sorts of things, anything that engages your brain in something new is going to keep your cognitive function going for longer. I know this, he was amazing. He was in his 80s and he started to learn Japanese. I mean, wow, it's just phenomenal. I just so admire him for doing that. Pelvic floor, it's over 50% of women over the age of 50 have some sort of pelvic floor dysfunction. That could be urinary tract infections. As our estrogen lowers, the lining of the urethra, so our wee tube, gets thinner. Hence, we get more risk of infections. We can get vaginal dryness. Again, if you're sexually active, that can lead to small tears and infections. You can have, there are various stages of prolapse. In fact, what I'll do, if you look up in the next couple of minutes, I will add a link to my pelvic floor series, which has just got general some gentle pelvic floor exercises, and then it moves up to sort of stronger level pelvic floor exercises. So if you struggle with prolapse or pelvic floor weakness, take a look at those. When I do workouts, a lot of our workouts are actually designed to engage the pelvic floor at the same time. Consciously, I think all of us, we can do it. When we do a squat or a lunge, I call it like the jellyfish, but you lift up. So you engage your pelvic floor before you do a squat or before you do a lunge or anything, to be quite honest. Before you lift anything up off the floor, engage your pelvic floor. It's a really simple thing to do, but a lot of us forget about it. And if we don't exercise our pelvic floor, it will weaken, just like any other muscle of the body. It can also, because the pelvic floor is a bit like a hammock. And so what can happen is we can be stronger on one side than we can on the other. And that can lead to, just dysfunction. So maybe leakage and that sort of thing. So just be aware that if you watch those videos, you'll see exactly what I mean. I go through the sort of the front, the back and the sides. It'll give you a good idea. But I hope that if you're struggling with pelvic floor issues, those should help you significantly. And just make sure you spend enough time on the easy moves before you move on to the more progressive moves. It's not designed for do 1 week of this and then a week of that and a week of that. You might need 6 weeks, 3 months. You might just need 2 weeks of the first video before you progress on. Hair and nails are likely to weaken. Hair changes a lot, doesn't it, as we get older? It does tend to get more brittle. Again, that's down to calcium. If we keep our calcium levels up, the chances are we are going to help with our nails. I must admit, the superfood so in the winter, my nails used to flake. They used to like split in half. And since I've been drinking my superfood shake, I have never had a split nail since. It does make your hair grow stronger too. I used to be quite thin here. After I'd had my children, I lost a lot up here, and my hair got so thick after I started drinking my superfoods. So collagen will help with that as well. I think also I've stopped drying my hair. I don't use anything on it anymore. I just let it, as you can tell, I just let it dry naturally. It is a bit chaotic today because I just don't feel well enough to try and make it look any better. I use Olaplex, actually. Olaplex is like this system that I came across from some amazing goddess on YouTube. She's just gorgeous and she does hair. And she uses Olaplex, and I've read a lot of reviews. I'm not affiliated with them at all. But when you look at the price tag, you think, oh, it was a little bit pricey for a shampoo, but you need such a tiny amount for it to work. So I've actually got the whole Olaplex system now. So I put like oil and cream on it in the morning, and we use the shampoo and the conditioner, and then like I've got this other stuff that I put on every now and again, which is like a mask. So if you are struggling with your hair, I highly recommend have a look at Olaplex. Because I've got a therapy business, so I have a trade account with a hair and beauty thing that sell Olaplex, but I've got it off Amazon at really good prices before as well. So just have a little look, see if your hair's a problem. I find Olaplex really good. I also know some fellow coaches who a bit younger than me, but they do a lot with their hair. They really are like the very groomed, beautiful, luscious ladies, and because they're drying out their hair so much, they're using Olaplex too. So anyway, it's just something that you might find that might be beneficial for you. I have got some notes here because like my head is, you can probably see me looking at them, my head is just like there. Brain might slow down. I've just done that one. That's it. I've done my list. Woohoo! So yeah, out of interest, if you've watched this long, thank you. What is the symptom, of those that I've said, what is the sort of the major issue that you've noticed as you've been getting older? Is it a lack of flexibility? Is it a lack of muscle strength? Is it a lack of balance and coordination? Is it brain fog? Is it pelvic floor dysfunction? I mean, you don't have to share it if you don't want to, but I'd be really interested to hear, or send me a private message to see what how it's affected you negatively. But I think the most important thing to remember is that we can take so many steps ourselves to make sure that our older age is going to be vibrant. And none of us are guaranteed anything. I mean, I might get really sick with COVID and die. You just don't know, do you? I don't think I will, but you just don't know. We could walk out of the house tomorrow and a tile could fall off the roof and land on your head. So nothing is guaranteed. However, we can do so much to pave the way for a healthy older age, and it's not going to get any better if we just let nature take its course. We do have to be active actors in the stage of life. So once I've got over this lurgy, I will be back with my workout with a gusto. I'm really missing it. But anyway, well, that's my 2 pennies worth for today. I'm sorry, it is a little bit away with the fairies, but I'm really struggling to actually think clearly, and my head's all like full up. So thanks for spending the time with me. If you found this helpful, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button if you want to make sure you don't miss any future Menopause Mondays. Stay safe, keep washing your hands, wear your mask, and if you've not double jabbed, get that double jab done, because I think I would feel flipping awful if I hadn't had my 2 vaccinations already. Catch you soon.